Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ReelTok, episode 58. My name is George. I am, as always, sat alongside my gorgeous, incredibly intelligent, strong men, Seth
The
and
glazing is
Tyler.
crazy.
Crazy.
Just woke up to glaze the homies, you know. I saw a TikTok where this guy's trying to get his friends to start calling each other the disciples, and he goes, "Imagine how cool it would be if you say glazing the disciples."
Jesus.
But we are back for episode 58. Of course, we miss our beautiful, incredible, knowledgeable co-host Cam, still taking some time away with his family, his beautiful wife Emma, and his son Bailey. So we hope to have Cam back soon. We have a lovely little episode for you guys today. Pretty much the same format as we've been doing for our horror episodes this month. So this will mark week 3 of that. Going to be talking a little bit of a psychological horror today. No new releases. I don't even know the last week we didn't have any new releases, but we got no new releases today. So we'll start off obviously just shooting our shit, calm banter. We'll go into what we've been watching over the last week since we last spoke to you guys. Then we'll jump into our horror movie review of the episode. Mr. Seth has selected us to watch Eraserhead, David Lynch. Then we'll have a nice little conversation of psychological horror in general. We'll kind of run through the decades, talk about the progression, maybe our favorite filmmakers in psychological horror. We talked about a few last week as well. And then our draft of the episode, we're going to be drafting horror characters, villains, final girls, final guys, any person, thing, character. Fucking pick Chucky if you want, that has appeared in a horror movie, eligible for our draft. So, gentlemen, let's just get right into it. How have we been? How has the week been? Seth, we'll start with you. I know you're not going to review Killers of the Flower Moon. I think we'll do that next week or the week after. But talk to us about that screening. Talk to us about, I think you went with Josiah. How is your week overall?
Yeah. Crazy week. I've just been back and forth. So I was in London on Saturday, stayed there until Wednesday, but I stayed at a number of different places. Watched a few screenings. Obviously, I'll go over them after. Went to see, there was a film festival. Went to see a fair few things. Did a bunch of stuff, and then I came home on Wednesday. Then got invited to a Killers of the Flower Moon early screening, which I went. So I went back to London on Thursday. Went to see that with Josiah, then came home on Thursday evening. Now I'm obviously away. I'm at my grandma's at the moment, but yeah, it was screening was cool. Like the actual event, it wasn't like an event for Killers of the Flower Moon. It was just like a Dolby screening. It wasn't like an event, like a premiere or anything like that, which I kind of appreciate. I feel like I got to a stage where my social battery just ran out and I just didn't want to speak to anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd been like going out every night and like staying with people and meeting people. I mean, shout out to those people, but like at the same time,
My social battery runs out even if I haven't been social.
Yeah, bro, this is exactly me. Like I like being on my own. I like being at home, and I was just away for so long. But like overall, the week was really good. Just ate some good food, spent a lot of money, watched some good films. It was really good. Just tiring week overall. Met loads of people who I hadn't met before. Met a couple of our patrons as well. Shout out Remy and Oscar. Got a chance to. I went on a night out, like a night out bar thing with Remy and a few of the other people. Met Oscar at a couple of screenings as well, which was really nice. Shout out to everyone who stopped me and spoke to me and said they liked my videos. I got a few people come up and said they liked the podcast, which was really great. A fair few times actually at the film festival, which was really nice. So I appreciate all of you. But yeah, the week was really good overall. I'll go on to kind of what I watched when we move on to the what we've been watching section. Oh, and the Blumhouse event was cool too, but The Exorcist Believer was not. that was bad. That's really bad.
To a point where I don't think Tyler and I will ever see that movie.
There's no point. There's literally but the event was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the reviews have been so atrociously bad.
Yeah, I am gonna go to the Five Nights at Freddy's event as well. I think because I did play the game, even though I'm not holding out high hopes for the film.
I was gonna say
because
I'm still skeptical on that movie.
I feel like there's no
I'm
way it's
very,
as bad
very
as
skeptical.
Exorcist Believer, though. There's no way it's
no,
that bad.
No, that was like Halloween Ends kind of level, if not maybe less, honestly. But yeah, I am skeptical. I'm going to go to that. I think got a couple more things this week. Oh, and I did another shoot with Lad Bible, which will probably be out. I don't fucking know, man. Next few weeks or something. So really, just busy, tiring week for me. That's pretty much it.
I mean, tiring in a good way. Can't complain.
Yeah. No, it was a good positive week.
Mr. Tyler, how was your week?
Yeah, it's been a good week. Busy as well for different reasons. I'm going to Minnesota next week for like 5 days, from like Wednesday through Monday. First time going back to see my family in 2 years, so been a hot minute. Been a long time. So excited for that. It's cold weather up there too, which it's in Arizona down here. It's still basically 100 degrees every day. So I'm excited to get back to some winter weather. So I'm excited to go back to Minnesota. But going away for 5 days means I have to do a lot of stuff for like actual work, like prep all that, prep ReelTok and stuff. I filmed like 21 TikToks the other day to be ready for like just posting while I'm gone, just because I don't like missing days. Just like getting stuff ready for the house and the pets. It's just like a lot of preparation.
How did you think of 21 TikToks?
Yeah,
I struggled to think of one.
Not gonna lie,
a good amount
of them are like lazy, like filter ones. There's not like the most like creative. Like some of them are like actual ideas.
So that's like impressive, man. I tried to do like drafts recently. I did 3, and I was like, I am so tired right now. I can't even do anymore.
I don't know. I wasn't even planning on doing it because like I filmed them way ahead of time. Like I don't leave for another like 4 days, but I don't know. It's just like I was in a weird mood, like which literally never happens. It was like Thursday. I just was like, I'm in the mood to film TikToks, which don't think has happened in like 2 years. So I was just like, I was like, basically like I acknowledged that thought in my mind. I'm like, I'm in the mood to film TikToks. I'm going to capitalize on this because I know I'm not going to want to freaking film any drafts like this weekend or anything or like any other time. So might as well, if I'm in the mood, just grind all these out and just get it done with. So I did that. And now I'm happy because I have a lot less to do this weekend, but still a lot because I got to, film this ReelTok with you guys and then got to film the next one for the next week while I'm gone because I don't know. I'm on a streak and I refuse to miss a week. But yeah, overall been pretty sound.
Awesome. My I don't even know the last time I had a video in my TikTok draft. So I respect that you can just grind out that many videos back to back.
It's so impressive. A lot of people do though, George. I think we're in the minority, that would just record and post on the time.
This is like I got a few DMs yesterday that actually made me laugh. So like my TikTok posting over the last couple of months has been very streaky. Obviously, I'll go
sporadic.
1 week without posting, and then I'll post.
And then you'll post like 5 times in a day or something.
I posted 4 times yesterday, and I got so many DMs like, "Bro, your TikTok pattern is unbelievable." But yeah, my week also fine. New York Film Festival was light this week. I had one screening since I saw you guys last, I had a screening last Saturday and last Sunday, a screening on Wednesday, and then I went to see Ferrari on Thursday. And then I have
spitting distance from Adam Driver.
Yeah,
really close.
We were right there with Adam Driver. It was really cool. Sophie's favorite actor. She damn near cried, which was fun.
And then she didn't like Ferrari, which was disappointing.
Yeah, and then she didn't like Ferrari,
which is saying something if it's her favorite actor ever. And she's still giving it a 2-star.
we're like waiting for the subway, and she goes, "Oh, what am I gonna rate this trash?" I'm like, "Oh my god." But no, that was cool. Michael Mann was there. Penelope Cruz was there, who's just the finest human being on the planet, respectfully. Such a good-looking lady.
What is she like? Like, obviously, I know who she is, but what's her like main thing she's known for? Just for anyone listening who doesn't know, I don't even know.
Oh God, Penelope
she's
Cruz.
done.
Is she like the one who? She's not Adam Sandler's like wife and all like the Grown Ups movies, is she?
No, Salma Hayek.
No, that's Salma Hayek.
Okay. I get those two confused.
She was in one of the terrible Pirates of the Caribbean films, the 4th one. She mainly did a lot of like. She was in Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise. Zoolander #2, like
here that like what's
a lot of the films though are like the Pedro Almodovar, the guy who did The Skin I Live In and stuff,
and The Strange
the
Way
Spanish
of Life.
guy. I think she was in quite a few films of his though that I haven't seen. So big films in the Spanish market.
Yeah, but that's weird looking at her filmography because I feel like Penelope Cruz is a name like everyone knows, but like looking at her filmography, I'm like, which one of these is like the standout? Like this is what everyone knows her from. And I'm not really.
Has she been in a TV show? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think she has like
Yeah, I
that
don't know.
movie.
I don't know why she's so known, but shout out her. Isn't Shailene? Wait, is Ferrari the one Shailene Woodley's in that apparently has a terrible accent that everyone's talking about?
Yeah, she was.
I didn't even know she was in that movie.
I didn't know she was in it either. I didn't know Patrick Dempsey was in it, but yeah, Shailene Woodley's. She was the bad part of Ferrari. Her accent was like, it was on and off. It was like Lady Gaga in House of Gucci bad. Like it was just something. At points she wasn't even trying. There was no accent to be heard.
I don't know who that is. Who is that?
She's the main girl in Divergent. If you ever saw that
Yeah.
dystopian movie.
Oh yeah, so
I had the maddest crush on her when I was like 14. Like she was like I was obsessed with her when I was like junior high and high school. She was like my first ever like true love.
Oh, she was in the Fallout. Yeah, I do remember that actually. Yeah, I do remember that.
But yeah, other than film festival, pretty lax week of work. Yeah, that's about it. Seth, I know you just shouted out everyone that came up to you, so I'm going to shout out Diego Coya and Daniel Stegman. They both came up to me after my viewing of Hitman, which was 2 weeks ago. But thank you guys for coming up to me. Obviously, that just makes me very happy. So I wanted to shout you guys out. But yeah, so that's about it on how we're doing. I know we kind of slowly touched on what we've been watching over the last couple of days, but Seth, what have you been watching over the last couple of days? And if you want, if you want to talk about like Killers of the Flower Moon briefly,
I'll just like briefly, yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously the most obvious, excited one was Killers of the Flower Moon. I loved it. I truly just loved it. I do think, and I do have a feeling that it will get the same reception as like The Irishman, Silence, where it's like you'll get people loving it, but then you'll get people thinking, okay, I like it, but it's like near the bottom, Scorsese's ranking for me or whatever. The length didn't bother me at all, and that's not just me just saying that. I actually think it even felt faster than The Irishman, for example. I think it really went by weirdly quickly, but I do think it's one of his most monumental achievements in film to date. And I think, I went to the Scorsese talk last week, which was like a bucket list experience, just being in the same vicinity as him and listening to him talk about film and his influences. And I think even that, I kept just, thinking about it throughout the film and thinking about, him speaking about the film before that. Amazing experience. 5 out of 5. So it's the first 5 for me this year. It currently sits 4th in my Scorsese ranking out of 27 films, I think.
So what are the 3 above it? If you know off the top of your head.
Yeah,
I got it.
Goodfellas.
Hold on. I got it. It's
Goodfellas and Silence.
Goodfellas. Is it Taxi Driver? It's got to be Taxi Driver.
Look at us.
So it's and then it's just ahead of Raging Bull at 5. That's what it is.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like really loved it. I went with Josiah. We both just were like just in awe the whole time. And if you're watching a 3.5 hour movie, I didn't go to the toilet once. I didn't even look at my watch once. I was just there, and me and him were just locked in. Amazing experience. Loved it. Saw Priscilla as well the day before. Liked Priscilla a good amount. She was like a 3.5, but it was a high 3.5. I think Sphere Cobbler did a really, really good job of showing a notoriously disguised relationship and kind of going into the ins and outs of being critical of Elvis, unlike Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, which was obviously quite fancy and showy offish kind of thing. I think it was good. I think the cast, Jacob Elordi was great. Like I really, really liked him as Elvis.
Is he even comparable to Austin Butler, or are their performances of Elvis so different that you can't really compare? Because he's not really performing in Priscilla, right?
Yeah, so he's like a subdue kind of individual who's like controlling but kind of subtle. It's not. I don't think you could say like when I put my review on, people were like messaging me saying, "Is he better than Austin Butler?" You can't compare. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just 2 completely different performances. But I think he did really, really well. And I also think I can't remember the name of the girl who played Priscilla. She was great. She was really, really good. Actually, probably. I mean, they're not comparable at all. But I'm just gonna compare them anyway. I prefer it than Elvis. I'll say that. I watched Maestro as well, Bradley Cooper's new film. I give it a 3. Actually, shout out to when I sat down Maestro. I sat down to 2 guys, and then one of them turned around and went, "Oh shit, I watch your videos all the time." I was like, "Oh, nice." And then me and him, I'll shout him out actually. Declan and Toby had a nice chat with them too, just about the films they watched. That was really good. My show I liked. I think Bradley Cooper, his abilities as a director is there. Like he knows how to compose an image. Structurally, it was really good. The use of color was great. It was just the script that was a bit lackluster for me. I found it to be a bit too over sentimental at times, a bit too try hardy, especially with the first half in the black and white section. But it was fine. I also thought it felt like, for example, that was like 2 hours 10, and for me that felt longer than Killers of the Flower Moon did. Like it felt like a long film. I get that 3-star. Overall, decent time. Night Watch Demons Are Forever, which was a really random Danish horror film. Didn't like it at all. Had a Q&A with the director and the main actress after.
Do you ask him why it sucks so bad?
No, man, it was like they did a Q&A with the audience, and every person who asked them a question was American. I was like, where am I right now? What the fuck? It was really weird. Yeah.
A Danish film in London and American.
And everyone was American. It was so random. But yeah, and then I saw Evil Dead at the same cinema as well on film, 35mm screen of Evil Dead. That was really fun. Great time with that. Boy and the Heron I watched as well. I'm a bit higher on it than George, but not like crazy on it. I don't think it's near, the best I've seen from Miyazaki. I know obviously now we know it's not a send-off film and he's going to be making more films. It did feel like a send-off film. It felt like a final chapter in his direction, all his elements, a very imaginative film, very childhood-like film, dream-like film, such as all his other ones. I give it a 4-star. But I do think, the Wind Rises, Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, I do prefer them. But I still, a low-tier Miyazaki is still like a great film. You know what I mean? It's not like another filmmaker where it's, this is the guy. And then the final thing I watched Noir on the Way, and I also watched obviously The Exorcist Believer, which I give it a 1-star. And honestly, I'm thinking now, why did I even give it a 1-star? Like, it's crazy. It was, and I'm not exaggerating. It was like really bad, like horrendously bad. I can't. They managed to make an exorcism scene so boring to the point where I was falling asleep the whole time. And we were at the cinema we were in at this event. We had like sofas. It was one of those sort of cinemas, the kind of casual ones. I was literally falling asleep. I was like, this is so shit. So yeah, get that 1-star. Could have been a half, but overall, really positive experience. Best thing I watched was definitely Kills the Flower Moon and The Boy and the Heron, and then obviously the Scorsese and Edgar Wright talk was just amazing. That was just fantastic. Probably the best thing of the event. But yeah, really, really a few good watches this week. A few good watches.
Awesome. Ton of stuff. Tyler.
Yeah, so let's see. I rewatched Fair Play. I lowered it from a 4.5 to a 4, but I still really liked it. It's I'd say it's like a Succession crossed with Sanctuary from this year. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would check it out on Netflix. I definitely had a really good time with it.
Is that on Netflix now? I didn't realize.
Yep. It was a Netflix release. Watch Okja, Bong Joon-ho's Okja. It's definitely like the most in your face, like not super subtle film of his, but it's like meant to be. Like he never really tries to make that one subtle, but I enjoyed it. Didn't love it. It was a 3.5 star. Like really good. Like it's similar to what you're saying about like Miyazaki. It's like, I mean, how bad can like a Bong Joon-ho film be? Like even if you don't think it's near his best, like it's still like a 3.5 star. Like it's still a great movie. Watch Gone with the Wind. Just feel like it was like a movie I just had needed to cross off for a long time. Didn't care for it all. I was so bored the entire time.
I've watched that once and I remember being very bored. I can't remember.
I just didn't care for it at all. And it was like
4 hours, man.
Yeah, it was like 3 hours, 55 minutes. It was a grind to get through, and it was just like not fun, but I got it checked off at least. Watch Finding Dory, which like, I don't know where does what do you guys rate Finding Dory?
It's the most 3-star film I've ever seen in my life. It's like, it's fine, but I wouldn't remember it. I don't really remember what happens in it. It's like a fine, serviceable film. And that's it. It doesn't really do anything.
That's exactly how I land on it. Like there'd be a scene that would happen. I'd be like, this is just like Finding Nemo 2.0. Like this doesn't feel original. Like this, why do we have this? But then it'd be immediately followed up by a scene where I'm like, okay, that was cute. That was like heartwarming. Like I really liked that scene. So it's like, it was just like constant back and forth to me between this is unnecessary and dumb to like, okay, that was cute and like nicely. And the ending, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. This whole like it's definitely not a bad movie. It was wholesome for sure. I've started watching all the Spy Kids movies. I only have the 4th one to go, which is really bad.
The 3rd one is good.
I like the first one too.
I'll give the first one a 4-star. I think the first one's great.
Why did you randomly decide to kill this franchise?
Because they're so good. What do you mean? I wouldn't watch I haven't seen the last 2, whatever, the really bad ones. The new one. I haven't watched that.
Yeah, like so at first I watched Spy Kids Armageddon because I was like working and I needed something on the side, and like, you know, I've said it time and time again, I'm not going to watch an actual like good movie when I'm working. So threw on Spy Kids Armageddon, and honestly, like the story was there. Like it's still by Robert Rodriguez, so it's still from the original guy. Like the movie itself and like the main like villain, like the big tech CEO, is the guy from Game Night, who's the blonde guy who's like the stupid like jock guy. I really like. I just like him. He's a cool guy. The kid actors are so bad though, and especially after rewatching the original Spy Kids, where I thought the kid actors were like pretty good in those. That made like new Spy Kids even look worse. Because I was like, I watched the new Spy Kids. I was like, how hard can you be on kid actors? You know. And then I rewatched the original. I'm like, man, these like. Because like Emily Osment from like, you know, Hannah Montana, she's like a supporting one in the main ones. I'm like, she had so much charisma and like was like actually like a good actor. It's like 7 years old. I was like, yeah, so you can. There's definitely good and bad kid actors, but I like the original Spy Kids a lot. Spy Kids 2 didn't care for. Spy Kids 3D is my favorite though. It's just so fun. It's just so funny rewatching that one because the kid
when Elijah Wood comes in and shit.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
The guy.
Yeah, the guy. But the funniest thing to me was like Junie, like the boy Spy Kid.
Yeah.
I feel like Spy Kids 3D, like he just had the most open schedule because literally like he's like the only guy in it from the original movies for like the first like hour, and then his sister comes in for a little bit, and then the parents come in for like the final 10 minutes. So I feel like they're like, we need to make a Spy Kids 3, but damn, everyone's schedule is booked.
They all come in right
except Junie's. Yeah. So they're like, all right, we're building the whole movie around you, dude. You're the only one who's free right now.
Did you see Glenn Powell in it as well?
Yeah, Glenn Powell jump scare. Selena Gomez is in it for like 3 seconds. Oh like God. So wild. Like all these.
It's actually got like a weirdly good cast. Like for now, like with
yeah, like Bill Paxton comes in at the end. Like just wildly stacked. But the biggest takeaway from the Spy Kids movies is Emily Osment, like who obviously was Lily in Hannah Montana, was what most people know her from like a young age. She was just like crazy good, which like makes sense. Like Haley Joel Osment, her brother, like obviously was an incredible child actor too. So. I don't know if they're their parents or they had some acting coach, but
that family one as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's in the second and third. But like that family just knew how to act from like day one, which is just crazy. And then watch Sexy Beast, which I know Seth you'd seen. It's Jonathan Glazer's debut. I'm trying to go through his filmography before I see the Zone of Interest. And his filmography, like there's only like 5 films, so it's not that long to get through. Yeah, and I've already seen Under the Skin. But yeah, Sexy Beast is super fun. The final shot was crazy, like because. Obviously, Jonathan Glazer is super experimental, like weird kind of guy. And there's elements of it, Sexy Beast, but mostly it's just kind of like a crime thriller. But the final shot's so crazy. I'm like, oh, there's Jonathan Glazer. Just the final shot of the movie. Yeah. I was like, Jesus.
I think Ray Winston's so good in it. I think that's
such a good He's the main guy, right?
Yeah. Ray Winston's the main guy. He was in like The Departed and stuff like that. He's brilliant actor. I really like him.
Watch Midnight Ruin. Shout out to the Raiders of the Lost podcast, boys. Really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Cinematography goes crazy on that. It's on their YouTube.
Crazy.
So Raiders of the Lost podcast. Search that on YouTube. You'll find it. Midnight Ruin. Really, really good short film. So go check it out. And then Eraserhead, which is what we're going to be reviewing on this episode. The Descent, which George and I already filmed our review of, but that'll be up on Friday.
And then, shit! I want to know you guys I want to know your thoughts, man.
You'll have to tune in on Friday.
Tyler, tune in. No, I am a member. Tyler, can you text me your score? I just want to know.
Yeah, I'll text it to you. But for the patrons, it's still hidden on, or not for everyone. That my review is still hidden on Letterboxd, obviously. But you see that on Friday when we post it. And then lastly, watch Love and Other Drugs. Jake Gyllenhaal and Anne Hathaway rom-com dram, which literally. It took me like an hour into the movie before I even realized it was set in the 1990s and that this was like a biopic, like based on a memoir of someone. Cause like it's around like Jake Gyllenhaal is basically like a sales rep for pharmaceutical sales for like when Viagra was released. But the whole like first hour of the movie, like they kept talking about like how there's this new drug coming out that's going to like make your dick hard and improve your sex life. And I was like, don't they know about like, is this just a universe where Viagra doesn't exist? Like, what are they talking about? Like, it's like but then like, cause I don't know, like, when there's no cell phones that like I feel like movies don't usually show so many cell phones. So I was just like, it seems like it's just this movie came out in 2010. There's a 2010 movie. I was like, are they just making a weird universe where Viagra doesn't exist? And they're like, I'm like, oh wait. And then I Googled it in the middle of the movie, like, oh shit, this is like from like there's supposed to be like the 90s. There's like a biopic of like Viagra being released. I was like, what the hell? Like I didn't even pick up on that in the slightest. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. Quite all over the place.
Yeah, eclectic bunch of movies there. I'm kind of all over the place too, between like film festival, a couple of rewatches, and just some horror stuff. Watch Richard Linklater's Everybody Wants Some. A lot of people have been pushing me to watch that for a while. One of my favorite Linklater immediately. I
Is
fucking
that the
love
one with
movie.
Owen's review that you tweeted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What film was this?
yeah. Everybody Wants Some. Glenn
Oh,
Powell.
it's a good film.
Great film,
film.
yeah. Couple of rom-coms, When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle.
Haven't
You're a
seen it.
big
That's
Meg
the-
Ryan guy.
Big Meg Ryan guy. Love Meg Ryan. 90s Meg Ryan hits different. Couple of film festival stuff, Anatomy of a Fall. Sandra
yeah. I missed
Hüller in
that.
that movie is my best actress pick right now. La Chimera, really like that one. Same with Zone of Interest. I think is going to be a little bit more of a controversial movie, but I'm very curious to see where you guys land. Same with me, Midnight Ruin. Really enjoyed it. The Davini boys, clearly very inspired filmmakers. I'm very excited to see where they go next. I said in my Letterboxd review, it's the aesthetic of a No Country for Old Men, but it's very ambiguous, and it just asks you it just begs you to ask a lot of questions on life, decision making, morality. So I think they did a really good job with that short film. Really proud of those guys. I watched Jennifer's Body. Did not think I was gonna like
First
that movie.
watch.
First watch. I did not think I was gonna like that movie.
I like that film. It's a good film.
I thought everyone was like,
Meme in it. Kind of
yeah, I thought it was like a meme, the way people kind of did for like Violent Night or something, where it's like, oh, 5 stars, great movie.
Yeah.
But no, I gave it a 3.5. I really enjoyed my time with that one. Creep 2, I watched. It's fine. Soul Survivor, shout out Marta for the recommendation. That was a really solid 80s movie. Very reminiscent of It Follows, in terms of it's just very slow, suspense building horror. So if you like It Follows, I definitely recommend checking out Soul Survivor. Eraserhead, we will talk about in like 3 minutes. And then I watched Totally Killer last night, which is, I guess, the horror what a phenomenon going around. Everyone watched this movie. I thought it was just fine. Definitely laughed more than I expected to, but cute little, time travel slasher flick. So that's about it for me. Couple more, but who cares? But let's get into our review of the week. Seth picked out Eraserhead for us. It was a rewatch for me. It was definitely a rewatch for Seth. Tyler,
I'll be honest, I don't actually get a chance to watch it, but I only watched it like a month ago, so it's like
yeah, that's the same thing with me in The Descent. Tyler, was this a first watch for you?
Yep.
So we'll start with Tyler. First watch, thoughts on.
Can I just say one thing?
No.
I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
Very tight for me betwixt Leo and
Killian.
Did not expect that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
Lily Gladstone was also amazing as well, but obviously everyone knows that.
Everyone keeps saying that Lily Gladstone was phenomenal in Killers of the Flower Moon, but a lot of people were saying there's nothing like flashy about her performance. It's a very reserved performance.
It's very reserved. It's very subtle. There's only like one moment where she's. I think you saw it in the trailer where she's screaming in anguish and in pain, but it's very reserved, very subtle, very kind of heartbreaking, but not in a way which is like in your face, like a Toni Collette in Hereditary. It's not like that. It's not an animated performance. So I think it'd be very interesting to see how
Lily Gladstone's like disadvantage. I think that plays against her in the Oscars because
it does, which is
traditionally
a shame.
like that
Animated
flashy
stuff.
animated performance, which for me is why. So I haven't seen Killers obviously, but right now my number 1 is Cillian Murphy. My number 2 is actually Glenn Powell in Hitman.
Mate, Josiah would not stop speaking.
I know. I saw it. 5 stars.
Jealous.
I saw that. I know.
Well, did you give it 4.5?
I gave it 4.5. I gave it 4.5. But yeah, I don't think that movie's going to be nominated for anything, unfortunately. But if it were up to me, he's currently my number 2 for Best Actor. He was fucking stellar in that movie, like to the point where, like, he needs to be the lead actor in a ton more movies. Like, I didn't know he had this much range in him. Do not mention Don't mention that movie. It looks so bad.
Oh my god, it looks
That
so.
oh my
dumb,
god,
man.
that leaked trailer just looked. Oh my god.
That bro, this guy like there were cheating allegations for that. Like at
Mhm.
least produce something good out. It was
Yeah,
crazy how bad that
literally,
looks. Man.
bro. I don't even know if they were allegations. I feel like they just fully admitted that shit.
Well, they had so much chemistry, and then you watch them talking on trailers. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
This is...
yeah.
Maybe that was like the
There's
producer,
no-
the director. Like he saw the writing on the wall as it was coming together. Like this movie's shit. You guys are gonna need to drum up. You need to market this for me because this is not gonna do well.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
all
yeah,
right, let's
continue.
get into Eraserhead. Tyler, first watch. What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so the quick synopsis is is very short on Letterboxd and doesn't really give away much. Just in heaven, everything is fine. Henry Spencer tries to survive his industrial environment, his angry girlfriend, and the unbearable screams of his newly born mutant child. So Razorhead, David Lynch's debut. It's like a student film that like translated into a not student film because it took him like 7 years total to make. So it's like produced by him, which makes sense to me because it's such a wild debut that like I don't know how like anyone like would like finance this. So it makes sense. Like it was kind of like a student film that grew into something bigger. Yeah, this is a wild movie, man. This is especially for a debut, just a wild film. It's the only David Lynch I've seen so far, so I guess I'm just starting from the beginning.
I
going
shouldn't
all
have
the way to the
picked
end.
it, I don't think. Like, I know you. Well, I'm not going to say what you thought of it yet, but I think that was a bad pick for me, to be honest. I think you should rewatch it. When you've like watched more Lynch, because I think it'll be like, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's the order, like I mean, it's his debut, so it's like when people first experienced Lynch as it was coming out, like it was like the first movie they'd ever seen.
Yeah,
so I still think it's interesting to go from
I
that
agree. I
perspective
just think
too.
there's ones which have his weirdness, but also like a genuine narrative to follow, so you can kind of ease into it, which is kind of what like Blue Velvet is the one I always recommend.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on it either way.
No, I definitely rate it positively. I give it a 7.6 out of 10 for 4 stars. I'm not going to act like I said this in my Letterboxd review. I'm not going to act like I understood everything, but I definitely picked up a
No
lot from
one
this
can.
movie. Yeah, in terms of
No one can.
clearly in my mind, our main character, it's kind of just him going through just maturity, just growing up and the anxieties and horrors and mental health struggles that comes with it, from getting married to having kids to working a career to trying to get by in this world, just like dealing with all the constant pressures and anxieties life throws at you. And the way David Lynch brings that across is through wild imagery, crazy practical effects, bizarre sequences, piercing score that just just adds to the paranoia. But the biggest thing for me, honestly, is Jack Nance. I thought was so good in this. He probably has like a total of 20 words he says throughout the movie, but his ability to act with his facial expressions and his eyes is so crazy. Some of the best just like facial expression acting of all time. And this movie came out in the 70s, so 40 years or so after like the silent film era ended. But I feel like Jack Nance would have crushed it as a silent film actor because that's all you're relying on, like the Charlie Chaplin type actors that just are all facial expressions. And he just is so good. But yeah, just definitely a very anxiety inducing film that's just so bizarre and just so wild to try and digest. And like I said, again, in my Letterboxd review, it's an impossible film to properly digest, period. But on a first viewing, it's basically impossible film to fully digest. But I definitely was able to walk away pulling a lot from it. But yeah, just so many bizarre sequences, like with the freaking chicken and just that's the one that's sticking me the most. But I feel like Ari Aster is like influenced by this film a ton. Like I feel like I find so much Eraserhead influence now that I'm looking back on it, and Ari Aster's movies about how he tackles the anxieties of this world from family and from relationships and from children and from parents. But obviously, especially Beau is Afraid for sure. I just like when I was watching, I was like, oh, this just gets I'm getting so many of the same emotions that I got from watching Beau is Afraid. But yeah, 7.6 out of 10 for 4 stars. Obviously I'm honestly shocked that the Letterboxd average is a 3.9. It's rated so highly. I think that's probably just because not that many people have watched it overall. Like it's not a very populist film, but definitely a lot
thought
of
it was like quite. Is it not that? What I thought it was like quite watched.
yeah, 376,000,
No.
I guess. So it's
I think it's because Lynch has like brought out more stuff, so people like know that he's a bit of a fucking weirdo. Do you know what I mean? So they kind of expecting that now. Whereas if this was like the average, I don't know if you guys saw the video that was going around on Twitter. It was like the immediate theater reactions of people watching Eraserhead for the first time, and they're really funny because people are like, what the fuck was that? Do you know what I mean? So I think it was then a bit different because I think now people just know what to expect when it comes to David Lynch. You know what I mean?
Right.
I still know people that hate it at the same time though.
But yeah, just a wild movie, and it's like kind of cool that it like took like 7 years to make, because during like basically he already had, when he started making this film, he had his first young kids, and then he was married, but then he got divorced like halfway through making this movie, and then he got like remarried right when this movie came out, so he probably had like a relationship going like towards the end of this movie. So it's like he went through so much with his own family life throughout the production of this that I feel like just like influenced this film so much throughout the production, just like how weird and wild and so much anxieties with like the family dynamics of this movie. So yeah, cool film. I can easily see why people hate it. Obviously there's that guy who commented like on all of our Letterboxd reviews saying like 0 out of 10 for 0 stars, or like worst movie ever.
Worst
I'm
movie
going to
ever.
block him right now.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Seth, I'm going to save your thoughts for last because I'm
That's
excited to hear what you have to say. But from my perspective, this was a rewatch. It was a long overdue rewatch because I hadn't seen it in quite some time. I'm kind of like right there with Tyler. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this movie flowed through my brain like properly and fluidly. It's definitely one of those movies where after it, I had to kind of read up on it, which definitely elevated how I came out of that film. Even Tyler, reading your review helped me kind of understand bits and pieces here and there of this movie and kind of how I should be interpreting it or how David Lynch intended it to come off to his audience. A bit too, experimental for me. I hate to be that guy, that fucking loser film bro. But there were moments in this movie where everything just kind of came off a little cheesy and a little corny, and it just kind of got a little headache inducing here and there. But overall, I liked what David Lynch was going for here. Tyler, I like that comparison to Ari Aster because it's definitely, very visible in Ari Aster's filmography. They both have this very unique and kind of grotesque way of sharing their thoughts on like how they perceive things like life and love and maturity and adulthood. And I think when you look at his films through that lens, it definitely amplifies the experience. I want to rewatch this movie like immediately, especially having watched it, not quite understood it, and then kind of reading into everything from like what David Lynch was going for, watching some interviews with David Lynch. It's definitely a movie I'd like to rewatch now that I have this newfound perspective on it, and I'm sure I'll have even more things to think about after Seth, I hear what you have to say, because I was very excited that you picked this movie because it's a movie I want you to kind of not explain to me, but I'd like to get your perspective on it and how you perceive it, because I know you're rather I know you're very high on like Lost Highway. You're very high on Mulholland Drive. So I know you're a big Lynch guy in general. But yeah, for me, I thought this was good. I don't think I put it in that great category quite yet. Maybe after rewatch, yes. Maybe now that I kind of understand what the intention of the film is. So I'll leave it there. For me, it's a 3.5 right now. Seth, I need to hear your thoughts on this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think with any David Lynch film, you're not meant to completely understand it. There's always going to be things that you don't. So I've seen Eraserhead, I'm going to say, not probably like 4 times maybe in my life. So not a crazy amount. I watched it when I was younger. I was like, I have no idea what's going on right now. But the reflection in this film are very similar to what Tyler's already said. I'll add a few of my own kind of interpretations, but it's very, very, I get exactly the same from it as Tyler did. I think essentially it's a mood piece. It's not meant to follow one particular structure, and he utilizes elements of dark paranoia-inducing energy to really heighten the feel. I think it has a very low budget feel, which heightens everything in my eyes. And I think where Lynch really excels is putting you in our main character's kind of mindset. And I think Tyler's bang on. I think it is Lynch putting across his fears at the time, the fear of failing as a father. Yes, it's quite weird using, a mutant baby to symbolize that, and it will go over some people's heads, as it did with my first watch, don't get me wrong. And I think even now, there's so many points I still don't understand, because you're not really meant to, and you kind of come, you drum up your own conclusions to it. But I think essentially it is a mood piece, and it focuses on isolation being the main point. We see many times how isolated our main character is, how he longs for connection, but then also at the same time, his fear of parenthood, his fear of obligations, his fear of growing up. You could see Eraserhead at the same time as like a fucked up coming of age film, because it really goes into the psyches of what it's like growing up, what it's like having all these responsibilities at the time, but kind of put across in this nightmarish way to really heighten every sense of feel. I think that it is, incredibly distinct. It is such a Lynch film, and it's going to work for some and not work for others. But I think he conveys it in such an odd and bizarre way that it's a film like this is guaranteed to be polarizing, because of its execution. And I do think I get it. I get why people don't like it, because I think it's very mysterious. I think, as with many of his films, but there is a lot here. And I spoke about this many times, but I think Eraserhead is one of those films that people kind of immediately will cross off as like not a shock film, but like just a bunch of weird shit with no substance. But I think there's a lot here. I think it really goes into Lynch's life, his own feelings at the time, having just had children himself, having worried about what he's going to do, being a student, worried about his livelihood, but put across in his dark, psychedelic, unique feel that will often turn people off. So Razor, I think, is probably one of the most impressive debuts ever for me, because of how much he packs into one film, especially with a runtime of 89 minutes. And I do think it's scary, creepy, but it makes you feel exactly what he is feeling. I think that highlights Lynch's strength as an artist, to be able to just throw you the most disturbing and freaky imagery and actually have it say something about not only his life, but about people growing up around that time in general, and fearing obligations, which we all do. We've all had a new job, or got started, just graduated, whatever it might be, having kids, whatever. There'll be things you can relate to in this movie. You just have to kind of find out the right way and understand where he's coming from. But I also don't blame you if you don't, because like George said, it's weird. It's very weird, and I see people giving 1 star, 2 star, whatever. And I get it, because it's not a usual film, but I do think it's a really, really strong artistic piece that you just kind of have to give a chance to. And also, aside from that, I actually really, really enjoy it. I think it kind of fits my style perfectly, and what I like from a film. I like to figure out things, and I like something that is entirely ambiguous throughout. So yeah, I give it a Razorhead a 4.5. I'm obviously higher on it than both of you, but not, I think it's 5th in my Lynch ratings, which says a lot considering it's a 4.5. I have Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet, Elephant Man, and Lost Highway above it. I would urge both of you, to be fair, to watch Blue Velvet, because Blue Velvet for me is like, it has all of his elements of like a surrealist nightmare and like a psychedelic feel, but then it also follows a strict pattern. There is like a story and a narrative to really put across, and that's the one I usually recommend first. But yeah, I think Eraserhead's really, really great. I understand why it's so polarizing. I think it's not going to be for everyone, but I think there's a lot there. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5 for me.
I'm gonna steal one of. Well, first off, I've only seen, this was my. Well, I've seen 3 Lynch movies: Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead, and Dune.
I didn't even know you'd seen Dune.
Yeah, I did watch.
Have you seen
Dune.
Twin Peaks?
No,
I haven't seen. So
I
my mum
haven't.
actually bought me like it's like one of my mum's favorite shows, and she bought me like because there's the original show, then there was a film, and then he did a reboot season in 2017. I've got all of them. I just struggle to commit to shows. I know this is Lynch, and I'll end up loving it. It's just so much time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but
shows
is the show? Do I have to watch the show before I watch the movie? Because there was a movie
Yeah,
in like
yeah.
'89.
No, so the show was I think the film was 92, I think.
And the
And
show
that was
came
that was
before that.
so there was 2 seasons before that, I'm pretty sure. My time, so there was 2 seasons before that, and then the show, and then he did the return season 2017, I think. So I think you do have to watch the 2 seasons and then the film. It's like it's completely into the universe. You know what I mean, but that's got like really good review. I know I'll probably love it, but that's the only thing I haven't. I've seen all Lynch's other films. I need to get around to it.
I've obviously been meaning to watch Lost Highway, because you watched it like 3 times in the last like 4 months or something.
Yeah,
you watched
that's
it
like
my
new. Yeah, that's like my new one. I think you'll like.
I mean, I love Mulholland
I think,
Drive, and I liked Eraserhead, so I'm not anti-Lynch by any means.
It's got more horror elements than
That's
Mulholland Drive. Actually, it's got some weird shit. But
yeah, Mulholland Drive.
We should do a Lynch episode, man. That'd be so good.
I'd commit to his filmography if we commit to an episode.
Only when Cam's back, because that would be so funny. Cam would be like, what?
Eraserhead stealing one of Tyler's, legendary ReelTok quotes is a movie I respect but don't necessarily love. I think for a debut, it's a crazy vision. It's one of those risks in film that you just rarely see, especially when it comes to a directorial debut. I know when we were talking about M. Night in our deep dive episode, we were kind of talking about The Sixth Sense and how M. Night kind of opened his career, kind of showing the general public that, yes, he can make this very conventional film, but then he's going to get into his weirder shit. David Lynch just kind of jumped right into that weird shit, and that, from my perspective at least, that could have broke his career immediately. Which is,
I think though, with M. Night, he obviously did 2 films before, I think. Whereas they were lower tier, but they didn't get the recognition. I don't know what they're like, Tyler. Are they weird films? The first 2 M. Night did.
No,
Or,
they're not.
They
weird.
just
they're like his most normal movies.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I thought it'd be like that because with Lynch, and I think the thing is with Lynch as well, he has such a small filmography. His last film was in 2000. He's technically still working. His last film was in 2007. At Eraserhead was what, 77, 78, 77, I think. And
77.
I think he's done, I'm going to say 8 films. Do you know what I mean? So in that amount of time, it's a pretty short filmography, 8 or 9 films, whatever it is. So I think people obviously recognize a lot more. And I would actually say Lynch as a director isn't exactly accessible. Of course he's not. And Eraserhead is probably one of, if not his least accessible. Do you know what I mean? And I think that says a lot about him as a filmmaker. I'd actually say his most recent is probably the least accessible. Inland Empire, that was the one with Laura Dern in 2007. That's fucking weird. That's Eraserhead's weird, but Inland Empire is 3 hours weird. 3 hours of just nonsensical confusion. I mean, I liked it, but I'd be keen to an episode of that because that is fucking crazy. So it's just because it's a very small, compact filmography. So I think every film stands out a bit more, if that makes sense. Like a Terrence Malick, because it's so small and quaint. So I think Eraserhead is one that stood the test of time because it was him showing off just how fucking weird he is. But then also the film he brought out after Eraserhead was The Elephant Man, and The Elephant Man is so straightforward. It's a devastating biopic about a piece of history. Do you know what I mean? So he showed he can do these accessible narratives, and I think that kind of maybe brought people back in around that time. I'd guess it would anyway, because it's that sort of film, if that makes sense. And obviously he did Dune after that, I think.
How do you rank Lynch's filmography, the ones you've seen?
So Dune is last. I don't hate Dune, but I think it's fucking weird. Not weird in a good way, strange. But I mean, that's a Fincher's Alien 3. Yeah. He didn't have any of the Straight Story, which is a Disney one. It's very simple, very heartwarming. He did that in the late 90s, so it was a good film. That's a 4-star. And then Inland Empire, which was his last film. That's one with Laura Dern. Wild at Heart, which is another one with Laura Dern, the action comedy, thriller, romance, whatever, with Willem Dafoe and Nicolas Cage. That's fucking cool. That was a 4-star. And then I have Eraserhead at 4.5, Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet, The Elephant Man, and then at the top I have Lost Highway, which is by far my favorite. But I have 2 5-stars Lynch. So I pretty much like all his films apart from Dune, which is the same as most people. Do you know what I mean?
He top 10 for you right now? I'm forgetting your director ranking.
4th.
4th?
Well, think about it, bro. I've got
that's true.
3 4-stars, but 1 2.5, 3 4s, 3 4.5s, and 2 5s. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty highly rated. Yeah. So he's I think he's 4th.
Damn, I really gotta get through this filmography now. So I want Lost Highway. I need to watch Blue Velvet. Those are going to be my next 2 Lynch watches, probably.
Yeah, I think.
What is his passion? Why has he not been doing many films lately? Because I saw he's done a Duran concert movie, and he's doing Twin Peaks. So it's his he's done 2 Twin Peaks movies in multiple seasons. So I feel like Twin Peaks has got to be his favorite thing of his.
He did.
He does it so much.
He's done a lot of short films, a lot of short films. He did that Netflix one a couple of years ago, that the monkey one. You've probably seen advertised, the one where Into the Monkey. That's very weird. He's done a lot of shorts, and then he obviously came back for Twin Peaks in 2017. But it's weird in the Lynch crowd. There's been so many rumors of him coming back and doing a film. People screenshotting his like stories or like, you know what I mean, like seeing him in person, because he hasn't made a feature film in like what 16 years, so it's been a long time. So people are kind of just waiting for the time that he comes back. But I don't actually know. I'd assume it's like Twin Peaks or something, or like short films, because he tends to do it. If you look at his filmography, he's only done 9 films, but like he's done like 40 films altogether, because he did a couple documentaries,
Right.
a lot of short films, stuff like that. It's a. Did you guys see when he would go on like Instagram every day and do the weather report?
No.
He did a weather report every day for like a while. He just went on and said the weather. The guy's fucking like so
Weird
strange.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? Like, who makes a Eraserhead? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna be a freak.
He's been married like 5 or 6 times too. Because I was looking up like Eraserhead. I was like, what's his relationship with his like family? Because I was like, this has got to be weird to make something like this. And I was like, oh, this dude's just like married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced, like all the time.
Yeah.
King.
Okay.
I'm sure they all sign prenups too. You're not getting any of that Twin Peaks money.
No.
Jesus.
Dude, the crying baby in Eraserhead though is like making me lose my brain. I was like,
Yeah.
which like is the
Yeah,
point of it, obviously. But I was like, it was just making my ears bleed.
Oh,
Yeah, that's like I think a lot of people say about like kind of the backing ambiance, the kind of score that goes with it. It really does feel like you're in this kind of underworld almost. You know what I mean? Like you're in this place, you're feeling exactly what he's feeling. It's really meant to like drain anxiety into you, especially with the baby scene at the end, which I won't speak about yet, but like that is literally meant
we
to
can get into you can speak about it if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously when he kills the baby, I mean that's literally meant to be the whole thing about getting rid of his fears. You know, the whole film is about him fearing being a failure as a dad, as a person, and that sequence is meant to be showcasing him getting rid of that fear, but in the weirdest fucking way. And that scene is like crazy, I will be honest, but I think everything has a purpose, everything has a rhythm, but it's just not to everyone's taste. That's the thing, isn't it? Because it is so weird. But yeah, I think you're meant to feel as if you are him. You know, you're in this world where everything is on top of you. You know, we've all had life kicking us and everything feels like it's on top of you. Everything feels like it's getting to the point where you're about to blow up. And then what we see is him blowing up and him trying to get rid of all that in a quick, fluid moment by getting rid of his weird, fucked up baby. So yeah, that's just how some people do it. Do you know what I mean?
How
I
this
mean,
movie
technically,
has-
you can't be a failure as a dad if you kill your kid.
Yeah, if you don't have a kid.
I mean, like, we should not be fucking advocating that, by the way. If you're listening,
yeah.
don't listen to us. But I mean, yeah, like it's pretty much it. Like, you know, if Lynch wants to show that in the most absurd way, and that is a one way to end a film that's like a Eraserhead. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's such a weird way to do it at the same time.
The weirdest thing for me from the movie still is like when he was at the dinner and eating the chicken and it just kept bleeding. And then like the mom like started like hysterically screaming. I was like, Jesus, what the hell is this? What's going on in this film? But like that's what the thing, like is a debut, but like I feel like he had so much access to some crazy like practical effects and stuff. It's like I don't know what the budget was, because like it said he produced it himself. So like I don't know if he like had a different job or had money. I guess the budget was $100,000, $100,000, which
Wow.
in 1977 is obviously a lot more. And plus, when he's financing it all himself, so clearly he had a nest egg of money to be able to do this himself. So yeah, I wonder if like he came from money or if he had like another job while he was making this, because it did take him like 7 years to make, and it was his first film. So yeah, I don't know if like this was just kind of a side project for the longest time, or if he was fully dedicated to it the 7 years, or if he was like doing it on the side while working like a normal job and making money to make this.
The chicken scene, I never understood what it's about. Like, how are you supposed to take things like that? But I did some like research. Well, this isn't my interpretation, but a few people interpret it as like the fear of all like man-made things going to waste. Because you know when you see that kind of fluid come out and stuff like that, and they're crying, who thinks of that sort of thing? Do you know what I mean? To symbolize that. You're using a mighty chicken as just crying with like this weird liquid coming out as a way to symbolize, you know, life and the way things are falling apart and how man-made things will always fail. But I think it's so fucking weird. That scene is like, I remember the first time I watched it, I was so confused. Do you know what I mean? As I was with most of the film, but there are you know, as much as it's not accessible, I think there in Eraserhead there are certain things that you should pick up. You know what I mean? There
Right.
are obvious themes there, like the fatherhood with the baby and like the isolation. It's quite obvious. But the chicken scene especially, like it's hard to gather things, which I think is interesting speaking about Eraserhead, because you know, we're all gonna have different interpretations of different parts because it's so personal. It's so something that you're either gonna connect with you or not, which why I like the Ari Aster comparison, Tyler, because when we spoke about last week how Ari Aster will always make films for himself and he'll make films that relate to him as an individual. That's exactly what Lynch was doing. And you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. He doesn't give a, you know, I mean, Lynch doesn't fucking care if you don't like Eraserhead. I think that's really like, that's why I admire him and Ari Aster so much as a filmmaker, you know, individually.
Yeah. Crazy movie.
Crazy movie.
Anything else you guys want to touch on Eraserhead or?
Anything else? The weird cauliflower woman. She's got fucking weird hair, doesn't she? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. When I first saw her, I was like, Jesus, man, it's freaky. It's
this movie would have been crazy to see, like it, like what, like I don't want it to be remastered like this, but just like if he never made it in black and white and it was like color from the beginning, like I want to know what these like practical effects looked like in real life. Like what was the colors of these?
The black and white adds to it, though. It makes it so much weird.
Yeah, but I want to know, like, I want to know, like, from like a filmmaking perspective, I want to know like what these like props and like weird things look like. What did that chicken look like in real life? Like, what the hell?
Like
the
baby look like?
What color fluid was coming out of that chicken? Like, yeah, what?
Like,
wild.
I don't know what the mutant baby looked like, man. Do you reckon it was like green or some shit? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's why I'm just no idea, but just
maybe we should, Lynch, if you're listening, make a restore Eraserhead in color 4K.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
Make the baby neon green while you're at it.
Yeah, if you are listening and you are a patron, recommend some more Lynch because yeah, I'd like these guys, especially when Cam comes back. Recommend like Blue Velvet or Lost Highway or some shit. That'd be fun. Like if you, by the way, if you think this is confusing, wait until we watch Lost Highway, and Inland Empire will be like, what the fuck? Like, there's no point in having a conversation about some scenes in Inland Empire because none of it makes sense. I refuse to believe anyone knows what certain scenes mean in that.
Would you rate that movie?
4-star.
And
like it's good. Highway. It's not.
Lost Highway's a 5. Okay.
That's in my top 10 ever now. That's like the 6th or something.
What's your other Lynch 5?
Elephant Man.
Oh,
which is like polar opposite. That's like my mum made me watch that when I was younger. It's like interesting. It's not like a classic Lynch film. It's just like an educational watch, I guess. It's really sad, really interesting. But yeah, if you are listening, recommend us some more Lynch. I'd definitely like to talk it. It'd be fun.
Or we could just watch them on our own.
Yeah, but you won't though, because I've been telling you for about a year now.
I will. I will. I want to watch Lost Highway. I need to watch Lost Highway.
Watch. Right, I'm gonna send you a list. Right, this is what it is. Yeah, it's Blue Velvet, and then it's Mulholland. You've seen Mulholland Drive. Tyler, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway. No, you can kind of skip the straight story of Elephant Man. You know, you can watch them on your own. So they're just like standard films. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive for Tyler, Lost Highway. No, actually.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, Mulholland Drive, Tyler, Lost Highway, and then the last one should be Inland Empire because shit's just.
When does Dune come into play?
Never. Don't watch Dune. If you watch the Denis Dune, you'll be let down. I'll tell you that. Don't expect anything like that. Although the costumes and hair are quite funny, but that's about it. That's the only good thing.
All right, we'll move on. That was our review of David Lynch's Eraserhead, which was the horror pick of the week. Next week we're doing horror comedy. It's my pick, so I still haven't picked, so that's a surprise for all of you. But let's jump into.
Well, actually, hold on. Next week will be a little different because we have to like film because we're filming like a bonus episode for next week, so like it might be like next week because I'm going to be gone this week.
Right.
So so next week when we do horror comedy or whatever, that'll be when because that comes out on October 30th is when it releases. So we'll be in our costumes for that one, I believe.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't picked out my costume.
Mate, it's getting late now. I didn't realize what time of day it was. I don't even know what I'm doing yet.
I gotta go get something.
Mm-hmm.
We should all be the nun.
All be the nun?
I didn't see that. It's easy for Seth. He already has the costume.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that again. I want to do something like fun, original, fresh.
No, yeah. I have no clue what I'm
doing. George, you can't wear your normal clothes this time. I was expecting some effort. Tyler was out here last time. Tyler bought every bit of merch for like Richmond, what is AFC or something.
You got the fake mustache.
Yeah,
I was
you
just a
went
dude in
crazy.
a jean jacket. And I held a skateboard and called myself Marty
And then
McFly.
Cam was just like in his son's Halloween costume or some shit. That was like the
Yeah,
whole
Batman.
thing.
All right, let's move on to just like a general open discussion on psychological horror. I figured we would just kind of run through the decades, talk about the evolution of psychological horror, our favorite filmmakers within the space. Definitely in my mind, I think this is my favorite subgenre of psychological of horror. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know what your favorite subgenre of horror are. So let's start with the 60s. Pop open them letterboxes.
I am doing it right now.
Yeah, I could wait.
I don't know if Tyler will get very far, to be honest. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about
I've got
60s.
some-
I mean, you've
I've
definitely
got
seen
some shit.
at least one from the 60s, so we'll start there. Psycho, other 60s, Rosemary's Baby.
Yep.
Those are really the only two psychological horror movies that I've
Persona
seen.
could be considered.
Yeah.
Well,
kinda.
I think Ingmar Bergman made one horror film, and that was the 60s, and that is most definitely psychological horror. It's called Hour of the Wolf.
Okay.
It's very reminiscent to like The Lighthouse, very in terms of like the surreal energy, but thematically it's similar to like a Persona or a Seventh Seal. That was like the only horror film Lynch ever made, and it's really, really good. I recommend you watch it. Actually, I think you'd like it. And then also there was another one called The Cremator, which is most definitely psychological horror comedy, I guess. That's really, really great. And George, I don't know if you've seen Eyes Without a Face.
I haven't, no.
So that's like that was one of the early, maybe body horror, psychological horror, whatever. That was like one of the early where they kind of pushed the envelope in terms of like graphic imagery. It was a French film from, I believe, like 60 exactly. I'd recommend everyone watch that. That's a really, really interesting one. And then you've got The Birds, Hitchcock's The Birds, which is shit. So I'm not talking about that. But, yeah. Rosemary's Baby. I think you mentioned that, didn't you?
Yeah, Rosemary's Baby and Psycho are like the two obvious. I've been seeing
Yeah.
George Romero's Night of the Living Dead on a lot of psychological horror lists, which like kind
I
of
guess
makes
so.
sense a little bit.
I
Like,
don't really love Night of the Living Dead, to be honest. I like the
Yeah, it's a 4-star for me.
Yeah,
I'm not sitting here saying it's one of the greatest. I was just surprised that it was on this list of psychological horror movies. It's
Mhm.
like kind of looking at like 28 Days Later, like zombie movie, but somewhat of a psychological.
search the alphabet. Go on Letterboxd, search the alphabet. It's David Lynch. That was 60s. Just look at the picture.
Called
Look,
The Alphabet.
Is it a
just
short
look at the
film?
yeah, just look at the header for it. It's absurd, that film.
What am I looking at? It's 4 minutes.
Yeah.
A woman's
Lynch has done
dark
so many.
and absurdist nightmare
Bro,
vision.
Lynch did this one
compromising a
called The
continuous
Grandma.
recitation of the alphabet.
Yeah, Lynch
I
did this
mean,
one called like The Grandma or The Mother or something. That
Jesus.
shit's so fucking weird. Like, he's done so many of these, honestly. There's so many.
That's
Yeah, my favorite from the 60s is definitely obviously Psycho, but Rosemary's Baby I really enjoy as well. I think like the new American Horror Story season is like basically a remake of Rosemary's Baby is what they're going for. Like they're
Oh, is it?
it's
Okay.
like I'm pretty sure that's what I'm getting from the vibes of the trailer. And then obviously like Hereditary is very much so inspired by Rosemary's Baby, but
Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby is really good. Psycho's but definitely my favorite psychological horror from the 60s. But those are the only two I've seen technically. I would say Persona definitely can be classified as one though, but in elements of it. But yeah, Rosemary's Baby and Psycho are both great. 60s was solid.
60s was solid. We can move on to the 70s, which I think is I don't think psychological horror truly boomed.
There's not as
until,
many. Like,
yeah, until like the 80s. But again, I'm seeing a lot of people include like untraditional, I guess, psychological horror movies on these lists. Like I'm looking at this list that has Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, which I guess prominently are slasher films, but when you, I guess, put them in a psychological lens, you know, Laurie Strode, for example, is absolutely going through it that entire movie. So you can look at it as a psychological movie, but
it's like Suspiria as well. Like, Suspiria is like a psychological, but it's also like supernatural.
I think Suspiria is more true psychological than like a Halloween, but it also has those supernatural elements.
Supernatural elements. Yeah.
The same thing with like a Carrie. Like Carrie, I think is not a traditional psychological horror.
Carrie's an
movie.
interesting one.
But it's
Yeah.
funny because like Brian De Palma is like, he is like a more reserved psychological filmmaker than, you know, I would say like a John Carpenter is. or like a Ridley Scott, like because you can also look at like Alien as a slightly psychological horror, even though I think it's more of like a science fiction horror than a psychological horror.
Yeah, I mean, The
Um,
Wicker Man, the original, could probably count as it. That's similar to like a Midsummer kind of thing. Also,
yeah.
I want you both to search
Oh
The
God,
Grandmother, because that was 1970. David Lynch. That was a year right after.
bro.
Just search, look at the header. That's good
Oh
though.
my
Like, it's
God.
hard to find, but it's actually good. Like, that's psychological as fuck. That was creepy.
That header looks like Heath Ledger's Joker without the
It
makeup.
does, doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
That's
That was some
fucked.
weird shit. I mean, that's definitely like some psychological stuff. It was like an animated weird film that he did, and he's done a lot of these shorts. They're really interesting, actually. But yeah, that's definitely constitutes it.
Is David Lynch like okay?
No, have you seen
Like-
his film? You watched
like-
Eraserhead,
like-
bro? What do you mean? No, this guy's not.
Yeah,
There's gonna be one that you'll definitely mention for the 80s. Actually, I know which one you're.
Well, let's get right to the 80s.
I know which one you're gonna say.
That I'm definitely gonna mention. What? The Shining, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely, but no, like I think this is a psychological one.
Which one? What are you talking about? The Fly?
Angst.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's like
Yeah, that's like the most. That for me is the most realistic depiction of a serial killer I've seen in film. And have you
Yeah.
seen Angst?
Yeah.
You have. Tyler, you have not.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll
Not
like
for
just like a quick
like,
explanation. So
3 years.
basically, in Angst, this notorious serial killer is let out from prison, like his sentence is up, and he immediately goes back to like he finds a house, just a random house, starts torturing these people and killing them. But while he's doing so, like the entire movie, you're kind of being guided by his narration. So I said this in my Letterboxd review. It's very rare in horror that we have a movie where your point of view is from the point of view of the bad guy. And then this guy in Angst just had like skin crawling. Like he was so calm about like what he was talking about. He was literally just like, well, I need to find some people. Oh, these two girls at the end of the bar, they're staring at me. Maybe they'll be good to torture and kill or something. It's like so like haunting just because of how composed and like how calm this guy is about like what he's talking about. And then Seth, I'm sure you'll agree, just like the sequences of violence are just so grotesque and so realistically like brutal that they just that movie.
It's
God.
the way it builds up to that certain point by putting you in his head and actually getting you comfortable with the idea and then shocking you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting film. Actually, you don't see many films from that perspective. I think I need to rewatch it. It's been like 3 years, I think, minimum.
That was the first watch for me, like not too long ago, and everyone kept saying like, prepare yourself like to like not want to watch a movie for quite some time after.
Yeah. So I would also say, so Brian De Palma did a film called Dress to Kill, which I would consider thriller, but apparently it's horror. Oh, horror is the main genre in here. Okay, that's definitely a psychological one. Really, really interesting film about like basically a female murderer who's murdering a psychiatrist patients. Really, really interesting. I think you both actually really like that. Quite a controversial one at the time, I believe. But that in terms of psychological, I think like what I'm looking at from the 80s, this was kind of the period where like there was more body horror. The practical effects are utilized a lot. You know, we've got like The Thing, The Day of the Dead, American Werewolf in London, Videodrome, The Fly, Evil Dead, even The Shining to a certain extent, Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think this was definitely a case where things were starting to come in with that. And then also, George, you had like you know that zombie director, Lucio Fulci, did that Zombie Flesh Eaters guy?
Yeah, Zombie Flesh Eaters. I
watched
shout out Stoney the Great. He had recommended me that last year's horror season. Yeah, that's a good one.
Have you seen The Beyond? I watched that the other day.
No.
Bro,
The
shit.
Beyond?
Yeah, I think he's the most popular one on Letterboxd. Lucio Fulci is crazy.
I think Zombie Flesh Eater is the only Fulci movie I've seen, so I need to continue. Maybe not like horror. I know a lot of people consider it thriller, but The Silence of the Lambs.
If you think it's horror, it's
bugging.
definitely.
Well, I'm bugging. That's a '90s movie.
Oh, Possession actually is actually a
Yeah,
psychological horror film.
Possession. Okay,
Yeah, Possession
I'm
definitely
bugging.
is.
We'll talk about Silence of the Lambs later. But yeah, even like Poltergeist, obviously a little bit more supernatural, but psychological in a sense. John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. Damn, the 80s were sick for horror.
Yeah, the 80s were really good. The 80s were good for horror. I don't think they were that strong. Otherwise, I watched a lot of shit in the 80s, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit in horror just all the time.
No, like in general, I think the 80s were like a weird period for
Just
film
generally,
in general. But
yeah.
horror, they were really good. Horror, they were really good.
Tyler, anything from the 80s that you want to shout out that you've seen?
The only like notable one is The Shining, which obviously is the first one everyone would think of for when it comes to psychological horror from the 80s.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's still my greatest horror movie of all time. I said, like, before, I think it was early September, I had posted a TikTok video, like my top 30 horror movies of all time. And in that video, I was like, yeah, over the next like 2 months, I'm going to be watching like a lot of first watch horror movies. So I expect this list to look very different come Halloween. The list doesn't look that different at all.
My top 3 hasn't moved since I was like 16. It's
yeah,
kinda weird.
my top like 20. I think the only addition into like the top 25 was Angst. I think that was it. Angst, Opera. I think that's it. I think those are the only ones that like slid their way into like my top of the top horror movies. And obviously I've been watching a ton over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We can slide our way into the 90s. I'm going to start off by shouting out Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cure, because I think that's a movie, Seth, I think you need to prioritize.
I know. It's not on anything here for some reason. Anything.
I watched it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube?
Like free. Like, you know how the others, the Nicole Kidman movie is just free on YouTube?
Why has no one told me this? Wow.
I've definitely mentioned this.
Oh, that Pinocchio film I watched is psychological horror. You know,
Pinocchio, what, 60? What
964.
Yeah.
There's a few actually. In the Mouth of Madness, 100%.
Yes.
100%. That's one of my favorites.
Would you
Jacob's Ladder?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I would.
Yeah, it has to be. Jacob's Ladder. I would also say Funny Games, the original. If you say that's like psychological thriller horror, that was a really
watch
weird
that.
version.
Oh my god, do I need to watch that?
I think you'd both really like Funny Games. It's kind of an interesting film where it kind of makes a mockery of its audience for searching for violence in films. It's a very notoriously disturbing film, but not in a way that you think.
Like
you don't see
porn
much
or something.
but you don't see anything.
Yeah.
You don't see it. It's a really interesting film in the way that it works with the cameras. It's really clever, really provocative. Really gets your mind thinking. I think that's definitely in the psychological lens. And then you've also got some like not so great ones that could be in that lens. So you've got like The Devil's Advocate, which is a good film. Don't get me wrong, but like I wouldn't have it as high as others on this list. And then most of them I'm looking at here are like, this was the start when I saw, the found footage started to come into play with like the Blair Shit Project.
Oh, stop it. It's just wrong.
Ring is kind of like supernatural.
Yeah, Ring we watched.
Yeah.
Oh no, we watched the remake for our.
No, you watched the Naomi Watts one, not the original.
That one was not that good. I'm gonna shout out from the '90s Event Horizon. Again, more of a science fiction horror, but it kind of plays out like a Gattaca type movie where it's it's more of a haunting character study, which just makes it very psychological. It's a very personal, super intimate movie. Seth, I'm surprised you didn't say M. Night's The Sixth Sense. Unless you did say it and I missed it, but I would definitely.
No, I didn't. I've always put that as a thriller person. I don't know why.
I would see it more as like a supernatural thriller, but I think
that's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think it has like those psychological elements to it. I also did not realize
same as Misery.
Sense. Yeah, same with Misery. I did not realize The Sixth Sense has a 4.0 on Letterboxd.
Yeah, it's like
it's like the highest rated one. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that is
Misery's main one is horror actually.
Is it really?
I think Misery is definitely within that lens, but I would probably treat it as more of like a thriller. I would say
Misery. God, every time I think of Misery, I think of that fucking like the hammer scene with his ankle.
When she, it's crazy.
Oh my god, that's like my least favorite scene ever in any movie.
Kathy Bates is so good as Annie Wilkes.
So fucking good in that movie.
She's so good.
She's so
Tyler, have you seen Misery? It's
Oh
really
my
good. I really like this one.
god,
It's really good.
it is.
It's
just-
not a horror. It's not.
It's not. It's not. It's
It's thriller. It's thriller.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely fucking scary. Don't get me wrong.
It's weird.
But
yeah, I
not
think
in
that's
like
a really, really
yeah,
interesting
not in
film.
like a scary like the general term of the word.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the 2000s because I think 2000s and 2010s are where we're gonna really talk a lot about psychological horror because there's a ton to go through. We obviously in 4 days we're gonna drop our review of The Descent, so I'll shout that out first. Definitely, again, I would consider this maybe more thriller, slightly supernatural because they don't really go into who that dude is, shit like that. But definitely psychological horror. We won't go too into it because Tyler does a very good job on our real quick explaining why you could see this as a psychological horror and a couple of like these themes of like guilt and grief that go on in this movie. Another Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie. I know you've seen this one, Pulse.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
have seen Pulse, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I knew you had seen that one. One of the scariest movies I've ever seen personally, with quite possibly like one of the scariest sequences in film. Um,
Yeah.
and
You mean
then
like when she's walking over to him?
yeah, just
Yeah, shit's
walking.
fucking weird.
Literally,
Man. That made me
she's
feel
just
so
walking,
uncomfortable.
and it's fucking
Like,
frightening.
and then she's like dancing as well because they hired
Yeah.
actual dancers to do it. I'll tell you, have
Uh,
you seen Lake Mungo? Because that's definitely in the
yes,
psychological
yeah,
range.
I have seen
100%.
Lake Mungo. Very interesting. I think that was the first ever horror movie outside of like a traditional found footage movie. That was like the first like mock documentary type of horror film I think I've ever
Yeah,
really watched. I thought it was great. I same thing with like
I
found
really liked it.
footage. Yeah, I think if you could just add any sense of realism to like your movie, especially within the horror space, it's fucking frightening. And then, of course, in the 90s, we had the Blair Goat Project, which sparked a lot of found footage in the 2000s. Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity. Wreck came out in 2007. Seth, you
Yeah,
have seen Wreck?
yeah. Wreck's scary, man. Like I
Wreck
actually think that like that.
Wreck do be scary. I might choose that
Wreck
next
do be
week for our
scary.
horror comedy episode.
You can't get away with that.
Yeah,
Man.
I can't get away with that.
Yeah, Wreck's
I'm
scary.
gonna shout out Let the Right One In. I know that's obviously more
Yeah.
like vampire horror, but it's more of like a coming of age psychological horror in
I
my
think they
book.
tie in though, because like for example, like okay, have you seen the others yet? You haven't, have you?
No.
Yeah, no, I've only been asking you to for like 2 years. Yeah, I get it. But that the others, for example, is like it's supernatural. It's a ghost story, but the themes are so heavily prevalent within her mind, within
Yeah.
a psychological nature of what she's going through. I won't reveal obviously what it was, but like I think that there are many films which kind of tie two together, especially when you like supernatural psychological, like The Orphanage. I don't think you've seen, but I'd really recommend. That's a fantastic film. Also, Lynch's Inland Empire, 100% psychological horror, like I was
Yeah.
mentioning earlier. But there's so many on here that could be tied in within multiple genres, I think.
Yeah, that's why I mean I know you hold Let the Right One In probably as highly as I do, but it's
Yeah,
one
he's
of those
great.
movies where it's like it's a beautiful coming of age movie. It's maybe the best vampire movie we have out there. It's dealing with themes of friendship in this film. It's a very thoughtful tale. So like you can watch the movie and like I personally would not slap the horror genre on this movie. I don't think it's anything particularly scary. I think it's more of this introspective coming of age film, just untraditionally told via a vampire as opposed to just a normal middle school or whatever. It's like story of acceptance, stuff like that.
What about
So-
I know you watched it recently, George. Eden Lake. That's got to be like psychological,
Dude, I was
thriller,
so,
horror, whatever.
I was so disappointed. And the reason I'm disappointed with that, the first sentence of the letterbox synopsis, Eden Lake is a relentlessly tense and immaculately paced horror thriller about modern youth gone wild. That is a glowing review.
Yeah, I've never seen. You rarely see that. That's like not
That
a
is not a
synopsis. That's like them.
synopsis. That is a
No, that's kinda
literal
weird.
review. So going into it, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, Seth gives us a 3.5. I know you and
Yeah.
I pretty much align relatively well on horror. So I was like, okay, this will be an enjoyable time. In my opinion, yes, it was relentlessly tense. It was not immaculately paced. There were a lot of moments where I was just kind of like, this could have been cut out. This movie was 91 minutes. It could have very easily been 45 minutes if they wanted it to be.
It's just pretty much like it's a simple cat and mouse chase.
Yeah, I think it
it
definitely had its like fantastic moments of like fright and scares. But
Yeah.
it's just one of those horror movies, and me personally, when it comes to horror, I just look for a horror movie that'll leave a lasting impression on me.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, like Tyler and I discussed it when we talked about The Descent in our Real Quick, dropping in a few days. The Descent is such a fantastic horror movie to me because I could rewatch it countless times and it'll still have the same impression. It'll still give me the same reaction, which is something very rare to do in horror. And
Yeah.
Eden Lake, I turned off Eden Lake and pretty much forgot what I had watched 20 minutes later.
Yeah, I get it.
Seth, one movie I'd like you to watch. You have watched it. Awesome. I was going to shout out Ty West's The House of the Devil.
No, you recommended me that. I really liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it more
I
than you
forgot
actually.
about
What
it.
did you
Yeah,
give it?
you did. I give it a 3.5. You gave it a 4, so I'm happy to see
I
that.
really, yeah, that's like my favorite film from him. I think it's better. I have it over X and Pearl. I think it's really
Yeah.
good. I really
I
like
think
it.
it's fantastic. It's just
Oh,
it's,
go on.
it's so psychological. I don't want to get into spoilers because I know a couple people still plan on watching it. But yeah, it's super dark, super
Martyrs
eerie.
is like psychological as fuck.
Yeah.
That's like. Also, I don't really like. Do I like Martyrs? Okay, I mean, it's fine.
I was texting one of my friends texted me the other day. He goes, "Hey, I'm thinking about watching Martyrs," and I go, "Honestly, like, don't. It's like one of the most disturbing films ever. I know his taste, so I was like, just don't watch it. Like, I really don't think you're gonna enjoy it." And he goes, "Compare it to another film," and I go, "I can't. You haven't seen a film like Martyrs," and I go, "Martyrs makes Midsummer look like a romantic comedy."
Oh, absolutely. I don't actually know. Yeah, even me, like, even though I've watched like a lot of horrible shit, like a lot of films that are really disturbing, it's not really comparable to anything. Although I
It's
think
yeah,
of anyway. Do you know what I mean?
no, it's fucking
Tyler, watch
not.
Martyrs this week. Have you been ticking off your watch list, by the way, Tyler?
Tyler.
No, I have
watch
not,
Martyrs.
but I'll get there. I'll get there.
It's October.
I know. I mean, I've been watching. I watched The Descent. I watched Eraserhead. I just got.
What did no? I didn't. I give you something though. What did I give you?
No, you gave me like In the Mouth of Madness. You gave me It Follows. There's a couple of other stuff.
I'm happy you watched The Descent. I won't spoil whether you liked it
Yeah.
or not because you will find out on the Real Quick. But I'm happy you watched that movie. That's such a good movie.
It's crazy looking at the 2000s that Saw came out in 2004 and then Saw 6 came out in 2009. Like they really just cranked those
Yeah,
freaking
they-
movies
Jesus
out like crazy.
Christ, I
Pounded
didn't
those out.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't
Pounded those
realize it
out.
was so
Just
close
crazy.
together.
But low key, like sleeper pick, psychological horror 2000s, Coraline. I would
Yeah.
consider that.
Oh,
Victoria
shit, yeah,
actually
it's kind
just
of a good
watched
one.
that again like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
What did you think? Wait, again,
She loves
or,
it.
like-
Yeah,
It's a-
she loves it.
Yeah. It's a great movie.
I think
Um,
it's so good.
Yeah, we talked about vampires and Let the Right One In. We didn't mention Park Chan-wook's Thirst.
Thirst.
Um,
Yeah, I think Thirst could
absolutely.
be considered.
Yeah, absolutely psychological horror, I think, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like it's again, it's just like Let the Right One In, where it's like, yeah, it's like primarily a vampire movie, but they're touching on so many like themes of like loneliness, acceptance, friendship, grief, that it just turns it into like they're trying to tell a very simple story, but they're using like this vampire lens that just like kind of amplifies the experience.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the cast of Martyrs right now. Seth, you know who's in it? Who's a director?
No.
Javier Dolan.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he is. He is. He is.
He's
in,
the Crybaby
Star.
director, the guy who
Oh,
quit.
He's the one who
But-
did Mummy. But I
Yeah.
watched Mummy, both of you.
Huh.
Please. Thanks. Yeah, he is. He's at the start. I think he's like one. No, he's at. I can't remember where he's at, but I do actually remember seeing him in that. Yeah, you're right. It's interesting.
All right, let's move on to the 2010s because I think this will be a probably a bulk of our discussion, mainly because I just think it's probably the decade that we've seen the most psychological.
There is a
horror
lot
movies.
of like psychological.
There's a
shit in
ton.
this.
We can quickly breeze past the Get Outs, the Hereditaries, the Lighthouses, the Midsummers. If you guys want to hear us dive into Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, just go to last week's episode. We had a really great discussion on the three of them, and obviously the three of them kind of fall more towards the psychological horror. Jordan Peele can fall more towards science fiction horror a little bit. Robert Eggers could fall towards folk horror a little bit more, but I think they all kind of sit within that psychological horror. First shout has to be Black Swan for me. I think of all of the horror movies, and again, if you don't consider it horror, that's perfectly fine. But Black Swan for me is just such a devastating dissection of anxiety, the consequences of pressure, the consequences of being in a constant state of panic and fear that you're not good enough or that there's someone outperforming you.
George, we didn't say Perfect Blue as well. Like that could easily be mentioned, don't you think?
I mean, psychological for sure, but I would say psychological thriller.
I think Perfect Blue is like, I guess so. But I think Perfect Blue is like,
it could be frightening in its themes and how it like kind of resonates with you and makes you think. But I would never tell someone who's looking for a horror movie to watch Perfect Blue.
Yeah, I guess so.
Definitely a good shout though. That is definitely psychological for sure. But yeah, my shout is Black Swan. But just rattling off a few. Tyler, please watch It Follows. I'm begging you to watch it.
Oh yeah, that I'll be watching.
I might watch it tomorrow.
I might. Oh God, I might watch it tonight when I get home from.
I saw the devil. I saw
the devil. Absolutely.
Kotoko, George, I know you've seen that.
That was. Kotoko was just. That was literal just devastation.
You don't get more psychological than that.
No, that movie made me more anxious and just more paranoid than like any film and not in like a traditional sense of like paranoid where like you're okay. I'll bring up The Descent again. Like The Descent is like paranoia and anxious because of like this lurking darkness, this fear of the unknown. This is just anxiety and paranoia just because the depression on screen is just so palpable and it is so infectious that like it puts your mind in the same like state that the main character Coco is in, and it's such a brutal experience. That was a tough watch, I will say.
I'll also say very controversial one. Darren Aronofsky's Mother with Jennifer Lawrence was a really, really controversial one at the time.
Do you guys remember when Cam watched that accidentally?
No? Did he try and watch Bong Joon-ho's Mother?
Yeah, he thought he was watching, I think, Bong Joon-ho's Mother, and he was like just watching Darren Aronofsky's Mother.
That's funny, man.
Which is just
weird.
jokes.
It's such a Cam thing to do as well.
So fucking funny. Yeah, I'll toss again, this is more like supernatural monster horror, but I'll toss A Quiet Place on that list. I think that has a lot of psychological elements just from, what the events of a post-apocalyptic world can do to you, especially one that you have to just constantly be living in fear and in isolation.
Kill List.
Kill List, absolutely.
Most definitely. Yeah, Kill List is
definitely just a wild viewing experience. I think I texted you this right after an ending I absolutely did not foresee.
Kill List is very psychological. I think also one that I'd recommend both of you watch as well that I think I like more than most people, but it's Marrowbone. So it's got
you've been telling me that for a while.
George McKay, Anya Taylor-Joy, Mia Goth, like a really good cast. Really, really interesting film. Like quite scary at points. Most definitely psychological horror thriller. That's a really, really interesting watch. I think it's quite underseen as well, especially for the cast. You know what I mean? Like Mia Goth, Anya Taylor-Joy, George McKay, like three of the most exciting young actors working today. I think it's really underseen and undervalued. I think that definitely counts.
You've been telling me to watch that. It's funny. That's like one horror movie that I just always go to press play on, and I just never commit for some reason.
It's a good, really. I think it's your sort of film, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely need to watch it. Seth, have you seen The Wailing? Na Hung Jin's The Wailing.
No, mate, that's I've been about to press play on that about a million times. I've never
Yeah,
watched it.
that's a sublime. Like I think my 4 out of 5 stars is like disrespectful. Like I think that's too low. Like I need to
Yeah,
rewatch
I've
it. I
heard the
think it'll
score.
go up to a 4.5 or a 5. But that's again like that's a little like I'll compare that to Zodiac maybe, where it's like a very psychological kind of mystery.
Mystery. Yeah.
And it's one of those movies where you're kind of diving into the psyche of this detective while also kind of worried about what he's trying to uncover. So there's a lot of elements that just play into like your mind running amok while watching this movie.
Have you
Seth,
guys
and that,
seen Green Room? A24's Green
yep,
Room.
yep, that's a disturbing movie.
That's
Yeah,
really good. I really like that. I think that runs in a psychological mirror.
yeah,
Patrick Stewart is so good as the villain in that. I
yeah.
really like.
That's like
Tyler, have you seen Green Room?
I have not.
You should definitely watch it. It's good.
that's a wild movie.
Yeah.
Just that's another just straight anxiety for a fucking
Yeah,
hour and a half.
That is literally like a panic attack for like 90
Yeah.
minutes. It's crazy. And there was one of like the first. It was like around the time when A24 really get like 2015 when they did like the
Yeah.
like distribute The Witch and stuff like that. When they're really kind of pushing the horror, I think it's a really interesting film.
Crazy movie. Seth, I know you've seen Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Yeah, that's
Would
like
you consider?
fantasy.
Yeah,
I
that's more
guess.
of like the letterbox synopsis says a dark fairy tale, and I think that's a perfect way of putting it. But I think it has
Yeah,
enough psychological elements.
it's got a lot. It's like coming of age, psychological
Yeah,
fantasy, like
it's
horror.
another one of those
It's got a
like
lot of it.
weird blends of horror
Yeah,
that I absolutely
definitely.
adore. I don't know if I would consider 10 Cloverfield Lane psychological horror, but I think you do
I
because
could see it.
yeah, it's another one of those movies that's just like isolation stuff like that, and that's
Yeah,
obviously just something that lasts, just leaves a lasting impression on you after you watch it. And then John Goodman just puts on such a performance in that movie, not
that's a
talked about
really good
enough.
film. I need to rewatch that again actually because John Goodman's so amazing in that. Like, it's really fantastic.
Yeah, he bangs in that movie. And then another A24 movie, It Comes at Night. The one with
Oh, the Joel Edgerton one. Is that
yeah,
the Joel
Joel
Edgerton one?
Edgerton,
Yeah.
Christopher Abbott, Trey Edward Schultz. That's a fantastic movie. Seth, have you seen The Babadook?
Yeah, so I like
Babadook.
it. That's most
Yeah.
definitely psychological. I think that's all about like her,
Yeah.
the mom's mental health and stuff. I
Yep.
like it. I don't love it. I think that's definitely runs under the realm. I think the same with like It Follows as well. It runs under that same proximity. It Follows, Midsummer, Babadook, very much psychological horror at the core. Not
It's
huge on
very
Babadook, but I do like it.
yeah, it's very like Hereditary-esque, where it's like it's psychological horror, but it's the reasons the psychological horror aspects of these movies play out is because of the supernatural horror that's like the forefront of the
Yeah,
movie, which just
absolutely.
again I just think makes for such an interesting experience. Um, Anything else from the 2010s that were kind of I feel like we
Nothing
hit
great, I'll be
all of the
honest.
big ones. Yeah, like
Yeah.
everything else is just kind of low rated. So we can tackle the 2020s very quickly. I don't think there's been too many psychological horror movies.
Uh,
Like I would
Talk to
never
me.
yeah, Talk to Me. Supernatural psychological horror. I would never consider Nope a psychological horror. That's more supernatural and
Have you
science
guys
fiction.
seen
The
The Night
Black
House with
Phone.
Rebecca Hall?
No,
Oh, I
you keep
guess
telling
yeah.
me to watch that.
The Night House with Rebecca Hall is so
Yeah,
fucking good in
you
that film.
keep on mentioning that, and I need to watch it.
How
The
I have an interesting question for both of you. How many films in the 2020s letterboxd do you have a 4-star or higher?
oh, you want me to
Because
get this number
I have
now?
7. That's not
7
great. Yeah.
from
I know it's not
2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. You have
20.
7 movies rated a
I have 7.
four-star or higher
No, I have 7 at a 4-star and then 1 at a 5-star and then no 4.5s, and then all lower after that.
from the whole decade, this entire decade,
For
Yeah.
horrors,
for just horror.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Just
I thought
horror,
you meant.
not in general. No,
I
no,
thought
no,
you meant.
no, no.
Jesus Christ! I thought you meant everything in general. I have.
No, I just thought I'd have more because I like horror, but I realized there's not many I've loved recently, to be honest.
I have 12 at a 4-star and 2 at a 4.5-star.
Okay,
None
Tyler, what
of
about you?
no horror at a 5-star from this decade so far. Interesting. I really thought you meant just every movie in general at first. I
No. I just
almost
thought
pissed myself.
I had a feeling I'd loved more horror, but like, there's not that many horrors because I like Bones and all again. Like, would you really consider that a
wouldn't-
horror film? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But psychological, I think the best one for me in the past couple of years is probably the Night House. The Records, the Night House from 2020. It's on, I think it's on Hulu where you guys are at. If you're in the US, I think it's on Disney Plus here. That's really fantastic. Like, if you consider it a horror, I think that's really, really great. I know George didn't like this as much as I did. I don't think His House, the immigration one from Netflix, I really like that. But then again, like the psychological horror, like there's really not much to choose from for me in the 2020s.
Yeah,
If you guys have
not
got
a
any
lot from this
things.
decade. I mean, I can mention Possessor, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I enjoyed that movie. I didn't really
Yeah.
like it too much. I think Host is for sure psychological horror. It's
It's like found footage though, isn't it?
yeah,
At the same time,
it's
you know
like
what I
the
mean?
webcam found footage type of film.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
which again, like I think any, I don't know, I feel like any horror movie that just kind of puts me in like a very paranoid state, I can like consider psychological horror. Um,
Yeah, it's a weird one to kind of manage because
yeah,
there's so many different ways to go about it. I agree.
like even like, would you consider Skinamarink psychological horror or just trash
Yeah.
horror?
Well, I mean, I didn't like it to be fair. I think it's probably like found footage psychological, same as like a Host, for example.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
works the
But
same way.
from this
Would you? What
decade,
about Barbarian? Yeah, I think so.
uh,
Do you not think?
I don't know if I would consider that psychological horror.
Well, I mean, in the elements wise, it's very much about how others treat other people. I I wonder what that's down as on Google actually. Okay, it just says
I would
American
consider
horror.
psychological horror. I think.
I think I would. I think I would. In terms of what it has to say, the way it makes you feel, I think I consider if so, Barbarian would be like. Actually, what I didn't, I forgot to tell you this. I forgot to log on Letterboxd. I went to my cousin's the other day, and she was like, "Oh, have you got any horrors that like aren't scary?" Because she hates horror films, but like are fun. And I was like, "Oh, Barbarian, that's perfect." So I've actually seen Barbarian like 3 times now. I really, really like it. I have like a 4-star. I really enjoy it. I think
Oh.
Barbarian would be like very top of my list in terms of like best horrors from the 2020s, but also psychological horrors if we are considering that as well.
Yeah, also, Watcher.
Oh, Watcher. How
Oh,
did
yeah,
I
you
forget
guys
that?
you guys love.
Yeah, I love Watcher. What a film. What a film. This is not classified as a horror on Letterboxd, but I'm gonna toss out, actually it is. I'm gonna toss out We're All Going to the World's Fair.
I need to
I-
rewatch that.
yeah.
To be honest,
That one, I don't know why. I mean, I have a few mutuals that are high on it, but I have a few that are also very low on it, and the average Letterboxd rating is 3.1, but I don't know, for some reason that
it's a
film
bit
just,
all over the place. Actually, to be fair, the
it's
graph isn't it?
wild. It's just such a it's such a crazy like coming of age
Wow,
film.
people, yeah, look, Jesus, man, I've got guys who rate like a 4.5, 5, and also got like
Yeah.
half stars and ones.
Yeah, same. It's very
really
all over the
interesting.
place, but I that one left an impression on me for sure. I really enjoyed that one. But we could wrap up that you know, little friendly discussion on psychological horror, which, like I said, is my personal favorite subgenre of horror. Seth, what's your favorite subgenre of horror?
I'd probably say the same thing. To be fair, like there's different pieces of horror that I appreciate. Like I appreciate body, I appreciate science fiction horror, and there's always standouts like a Titan or The Thing or whatever. But I'd say on the surface, I probably prefer something that's like psychological. Most of them bearing on being
Yeah.
thrillers as well. That kind of lens, like a Kotoko, like a Kill List, for example, for the 2010s. Very much that kind of element. So I'd probably say psychological is kind of where I'm at most of the time in terms of what I would reach for. I would say.
Seth W reviews.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into our draft of the week. Again, horror related. We're gonna be drafting the best horror characters. We could pick anything: villains, final girls, final guys, dolls, ghosts, ghouls, goblins. Pick whatever you want.
Okay.
Draft order is Seth, George, Tyler, Snake Draft.
Oh,
Snake draft,
Okay.
as always. I'm very curious to see where you go with this first pick. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Surely both of you know what I'm going to pick for the first pick.
I actually don't.
I think I
I'm gonna
do,
be
Tyler?
but I'll be surprised if you don't. But I think I know.
okay.
What are the initials, Tyler?
JT.
JT.
JT. Jack
Okay.
Torrance. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right. I
Absolutely
figured-
my number one pick. One of my favorite characters ever. Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
I figured that's where you were going.
Yeah.
My first pick, I'm gonna go with just sheer level of being an icon. I'm gonna take Michael Myers off the board.
Mhm.
Yeah, makes sense.
Back to backs. I'll go Ghostface,
Good pick.
and then I'll wrap it around with Norman Bates.
Oh. Nice.
One Ghostface. Which Ghostface are you taking? Who's your favorite Ghostface?
That's a good question, actually. Yes, take one.
Let's see. Let me just get the name right.
Damn, Norman Bates was a fucking good one. While you look for that, I'm gonna
yeah.
take my second pick, which is gonna be maybe the most badass character ever in horror, and that's Mr. Ash from The Evil Dead.
Yeah, that's a good pick,
Franchise.
actually. That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I know.
Shit.
I'll
I'll go Leatherface. Leatherface, I think, is my favorite horror villain. Purely for the first film. I think he's just disgusting human. And then I'll also go for Mr. Lovable Freak Man himself. I'll go Frankenstein. Get Frankenstein.
That's
Gotta
a
love
good pick.
Frankenstein. Yeah,
That's a very Seth pick, I will say.
it is. I agree.
That's
Like
a
get some 30s
super-
like black and white shit.
Yeah.
Emma Roberts is my favorite Ghostface, by the way.
It's a W.
I think most people would actually agree with
Yeah.
that, don't they? Emma Roberts is a
Yep.
really good one.
It's a big
Yeah.
W.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Which Scream was
brother.
that? Emma Roberts? Scream
4, my favorite one.
4. 4. Yeah, 4. Makes sense.
I'm gonna go with another just fucking fucked up character who's just cool in a weird way, Mr. Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Mhm. All right, back to me for back to backs.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go with Jigsaw, and then who do I want next? Yeah, so we'll wrap it back around with Pennywise.
Ooh. I was
Okay.
wondering if anyone was gonna take Pennywise. Interesting. What am I at? Fourth pick. I need a final girl on my board, so I'm gonna take Miss Ellen Ripley.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good one.
I was gonna
I'll
take
go-
Laurie Strode, but since I already have Michael Myers, figured I would change up
Ellen's
the
better, yeah.
franchises. Yeah, Ellen is better. That's a fact.
I'll go Kurt Russell in The Thing. So RJ McCready. I'll go him.
Damn.
One of the you're talking badass characters in horror.
Yeah,
like
he's
he has
top
to be
tier
up there. He's like
badass,
the
yeah.
guy.
What's his last
And then
name?
for my
McGrady?
second McCready, one of the two.
I don't know. One
And
of the two.
then for my fifth pick, I'll go the mutant baby in Eraserhead. Do you know, I get some cool shit on there. Just, I think it'll look funny on a graph. You know, get some shit on there.
My last pick, I'm just gonna go with like one of my personal favorites, and that's Mr. Gabriel from *Malignant*.
Okay.
Malignant.
Oh, stop it! Oh, I should have
Tyler, have
taken
you
the
seen
Blair
Malignant yet?
Witch.
Mm-mm.
Damn.
Oh, Tyler, I'm so intrigued to see whose side you're gonna be on with them. Actually, to be honest, I'm not even on either side. I'm on like the middle. I'm like
Yeah,
focusing. around them.
What are you talking about? You don't even hate the movie.
Yeah, just there's some cool shit. There is some cool shit. Now and again.
I don't even know who I want for this final pick of the draft.
Damn,
Obviously, there's a lot of people we've left off, but I'll go for. Interesting.
I'm praying you pick this person I'm thinking of right now. We have
I
to get him in the
won't.
draft. No, we have to get him in the draft.
Did someone take Leatherface?
Yeah,
Yeah, me.
Seth did.
Yeah. Someone take Jason Voorhees.
No.
No.
I'll take Jason.
Jason.
We didn't pick him. That's crazy.
Who?
Who?
Justin Long in Barbarian. What
Oh
are we
my
talking
God.
about right now, boys?
Okay.
He was like,
I thought you had like an
#1.
actual pick.
Yeah.
That is
Seth-
an actual pick. That
Seth,
guy's
I
fucking
am-
crazy.
I am stunned you didn't pick the Blair Witch, honestly.
Xenomorph.
I cannot believe
Oh.
it.
Yeah, true, sir. I'm stunned you didn't put the tall
Chucky
guy.
and Annabelle, a couple of dolls, Snow.
I thought you'd pick like the tall guy and fucking It Follows, like tall guy who walks in. room
What's
or
the
some
name?
shit.
Yeah, it's
Is he got a name? Like it's just tall guy in room.
just
I don't fucking
creepy
know.
guy in doorway.
Although he was very creepy, so I would have given it. Like, to be fair, like if you can't, like I nearly picked like Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse, but I think that's like teetering on horror thriller. I don't really know where I stand with that one.
Oh, Annie Wilkes would have been a good pick when we were just talking
Annie
about
Wilkes
that.
would have been a good pick.
Damn,
I
we
would
were
have
literally
picked
just talking
a
about that. Carrie
xenomorph, like
White.
in Alien. A xenomorph in Alien.
Yeah,
would have been a great
Xenomorph
pick.
could have been good.
I thought you'd have gone for
Or-
the shark in Jaws because I know you think that's like counts as horror, isn't it? So like
Uh,
in terms of
That would've been a good
iconic,
one.
like
that would have been a good
that's what I
one.
mean. Yeah.
Could have gone like Florence Pugh in Midsummer.
Oh,
Or her sister, who's like
Yeah,
killed her
or her
parents and
sister.
herself in like the weirdest, most wild way
Fuck,
ever.
Or
way to
the
kill
guy
it.
with the mallet because that guy did some damage. You know, you can pick him. That'd be crazy. Bit of a wild card
Oh,
pick.
God. Jesus, there are some fucked up characters out here. All right. Seth took Mr. Jack Torrance, Leatherface, Frankenstein, RJ McReady, and the mutant baby from Eraserhead. Myself,
That's the
I
winning
took-
pick right there.
yeah, there it is. That's what people are going to vote for. I took Michael Myers, Ash Williams, Hannibal Lecter, Ellen Ripley, and Mr. Goatbreel. And then Tyler took Ghostface, Norman Bates, Jigsaw, Pennywise, and Mr. Jason Voorhees. I just watched Friday the 13th yesterday because it was Friday the 13th. That movie is painfully average.
So many people.
Not even
watched that
average. It's just like, well, it's Friday the 13th.
It's like the first time it happened in October in probably 7 years.
Yeah, I know. And once I saw it that it was Friday the 13th, I was like, okay, I have to fucking do this, obviously.
I don't want to watch that again. I watched it years ago. I was like, this is meh. I
Yeah.
don't want to watch it again.
I also
what I
watched
mean?
it like I was working from home, so like I was like half paying attention. Like after like
Yeah,
the first
yeah, yeah.
20 minutes, I was like, you know what? Like that's it.
People tell me like Seven's better. I'm like, I'm not watching that.
I'm
many.
not
Like,
watching all of these at
People
all.
were-
7 of those.
People were DMing me like, "What should I watch for Friday the 13th?" And I'd never seen the original, and a lot of people I saw already logged it and were like not liking it. So I was like, I'm not gonna recommend that. I'm like, Freaky Friday, watch that instead. That's a
Freaky
good Friday the 13th.
That's a cam recommendation.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I know it's a remake, but the Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis one, like I watched that so much as a kid. That was a fun movie.
I gotta rewatch that. But
I
all
mean,
right,
I
that
haven't seen it
wraps
since
up-
like 7, but yeah.
That wraps up week 3 of our little horror special. We hope you guys enjoyed. Again, little oddball episode because we didn't really have any new releases. I know Seth and I touched on some festival stuff, and
We didn't go see the Eras Tour movie.
yeah, we did not go see the
And I
Eras
will
tour.
not be seeing that. At
Yeah.
any point in my life.
I love the TikToks though. I was just laughing my ass off in bed all day, like scrolling through people in the theater. Like it was so funny. That was some of my favorite TikToks I've ever seen.
Yeah, but this was fun. This was a good little conversation,
We
good
should
little
also say that
dissection.
me and Tyler are probably going to be getting a review out for Killers of the Flower Moon as well.
Yeah,
Like
we'll
a
see.
full
We have
in-depth
to. We're gonna have to
one.
do something creative for next week's episode, which I
Yeah.
still haven't confirmed, but we'll figure
Yeah,
it out.
so we'll check it. Maybe next week will be a shorter episode, just depending on timing. But we'll try definitely, obviously, get something out.
Yeah.
You know, we'll text each other about our availabilities.
Mhm.
But shout out to our
That we do actually speak. If you're listening to this, we do actually speak outside of the podcast. It's crazy, I know.
too much. I would
Sometimes.
say too often.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to our executive producers: Al Bodie, Alexander Kephart, Max Wells, Remy Walker, Stefan Johnston, Seven Mod Jeffy, AJ Quigley, Alex Bisco, Ben Leggy, Ben Hansey, Benjamin Vetch, Bram Vitz, Brody Young, Callum Singh, Cody Whitney, Connor. That's a tough last name. Connor Connaughton. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I definitely did. Dakota Buckner,
message you.
Gene Cuttamanidi, Dylan Chip, Ferdinand 04, Hamish Edwards, Isaiah, James Magos, Jimmy O'Connor, John Anderson, Jordan Gagg, Josh Hines, Casper Lundberg, Luke Deerhog, Marcellus, Matthew Bradley, Raheem Bate, Reese David, Rocco 1.0, Robert Leo Gizlazin, Sam Soria, Sean Morales, Tad and Bougie, Trey Arzi, Will Kim, Eunice BBX, and Zach Graves. Again, guys, we cannot thank all of you guys for your constant love, support, for tuning in every week to listening to four idiots talk about movies that we love. If you guys want to take a look at our Patreon, and if you guys want to suggest us movies, games, drafts, or just any discussion that you guys want to listen to for our patrons, for our real quicks. I know you guys recommend a lot of drafts and rankings, but if you guys just want to recommend literally anything for us to discuss, we'll kind of expand there as well. But that wraps up Real Talk episode 58. We'll see you on Thursday for Real Quick 102, where Tyler and I draft horror movies below a 3.0 average rating on Letterboxd.
Oh, I wanted to do that.
And then
I'll watch the episode.
And then Friday, Real Quick episode 103, Tyler and I review one of my favorite horror movies, The Descent. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you in a couple days.